So, hello again. So, in this chapter, we will see how you have to plan and how you have to install actually the product. Okay, we will see that this product, whenever you have to install it, you have to install actually two components. One, it is the Oracle VM server on the physical hardware. Okay, and then another component is the Oracle VM manager, which has to be installed in a Linux environment. Okay, so we will see actually all the necessary steps that you need to perform. Okay, and then how you have to install it on both sides, the manager, and the server. So again, as you can see here, we have actually a small introduction about some requirements that you have to have in for the hardware installations of the Oracle VM server. The software requirements, what you have to download and how you have to treat your server. Of course, these products are highly networked, so you have to create networks or you have to dispose, let's say, network devices. And of course, you have to plan storage, because you need storage also in order to run your virtualization. So the first thing is that whenever you have to work with Oracle VM server for X86, so you have to dispose adequate software. So it is servers with 64-byte processors that if you want to run this hardware virtualization configurations, then an additional support has to be done. Okay, you have to configure the BIOS in order to support this kind of virtualization. Okay, then you have to have enough, let's say, CPU and memory, because whenever you are running your virtual machines, okay, so these virtual machines, they need, let's say, memory. Okay, so one part of the memory, it will be given to the OVS server, and the rest remaining memory goes for the guests. Okay, several network interfaces. Okay, because we will see that whenever you are creating this kind of infrastructure, okay, you need to create or to manage several networks that they have to be targeted to several network devices. Okay, if you have into your infrastructure VLANs, then in these cases the VLANs, they have to be created before, and you have to know how you have to configure these VLANs with your OVS servers. Another thing that you have to deal is that you have to use certified hardware. So for this case, you have to study or see actually the support side about the kind of combinations that you can use in order not to have issues during the installation or the operation of the software. The last but not least, it is that the step to download actually the software. Okay, so you have to have an account on the delivery side, and from there you can download actually an ISO file with the server. Okay, for the manager, the Oracle VM manager, it's a kind of a little bit different configuration. So this has to be installed into servers, in Linux servers. Okay, Oracle Linux or Red Hat servers, 64-byte processors. Okay, and then you will see that if you read the documentation, that this product is compatible from Oracle Linux 5 update 5 or later, and Oracle Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5 update 5 or later. Okay, then whenever you have to install this product, you will see that this product, it will be it is bundled already with one MySQL database, and for this reason, in the host where you have to install this product, any previous installed MySQL databases, they have to be removed, not to have any kind of technical or license conflict, and of course some additional packages like zip and zip Perl, they have to be installed. Okay, so if these packages are missing, which is not always the case, then with a simple yum install, you can get them from the Oracle public repositories, or let's say Red Hat repositories. Then you have to have at least 8 gigabytes of memory and additional space with the layouts that we have here, 3 gigabytes and a slash stamp, 5.5 gigabytes in the U01 and 300 megabytes /USR, okay, 400 megabytes on /var. All that because into these directories, the installer it will create dedicated, let's say, configurations. So if you don't have these kind of things, then you will see that the installer will give you some warnings, and in the worst scenario, it will just stop, okay, the installation. So whenever you are using this kind of product, the Oracle VM Manager, so you will see that this product is based on Oracle WebLogic Server, and it is using as well a MySQL Enterprise Edition. The product is using the ADF framework release 12c. So just to create the layout, interaction layout on for the browsers. So for this case, you have, let's say, a restricted license. That means simply that the product it will install all these products onto your Linux servers, but you are not allowed to make any other or additional configurations or deployments by using these products that are needed to run your services. Now, whenever you have to work with this kind of product, there are several, let's say, ports that they have to be opened on the Oracle VM Manager and on the Oracle VM server. And these ports, they have really to stay, let's say, open. Otherwise, you might experience several issues during the, let's say, the production time of your servers. So for the Oracle VM Manager, there are several ports. The 123 is for the UDP protocol, okay, for the NTP, okay, communications. The port 22, it will be open because you need to perform any kind of operations into your servers. The 7002, it will be used to communicate through the console, web server console, HTTPS, and the port 10,000 has to be open as well on the Oracle VM Manager because this port it will be used from the command line in order to make configuration by using a specific approach which will load several commands. Now, there are several other ports like the ports the 6900, 901 that it will be used for VNC server connections, ports on the family between 7900, 7901. So this is for the, let's say, telnet emulations, okay. The port of the 8899 that it will be used for between the agent, or Oracle VM agent and the Oracle VM server. The port 22 on every and each Oracle VM server, because you need maybe to get connected into the servers in order to make any kind of configurations. And then several other ports, like the ports from 80,000 to 80,003, because these ports, they will be used for the live migration. An additional port, which is the 7777, that it will be used for the heartbeat communication whenever you have to create, let's say, server pools, okay, cluster server pools. So there's a dedicated, let's say, communication between the servers, and we will see this kind of implementation a little bit later. So now, before to install the Oracle VM Manager into the Linux server, there are several prerequisites. You have to have already a user which is called Oracle, that it will be part of the DBA group, okay. You have to increase settings, okay, of your Linux systems, like hard node files, soft node files, okay. And then of course you have to have a specific, let's say, file space for the U01 directory where the software will be installed. So you can do all these kind of steps either manually or either by just launching one specific script which is called created.oracle.sh, which is included into the distribution of the Oracle VM Manager software. And doing so, it is ensuring you that all kind of request configuration tasks, it will be performed by this script, and you are ready then to proceed to the installation of your servers. Now, this product, as we have said already, needs to communicate with several servers, okay. So you have to create network configurations, okay? And in these cases, you have to be sure that you dispose as well several network cards that they might be used during the configuration, installation, or reconfiguration of this product. If you are using, let's say, VLANs, okay? The VLAN infrastructure has to be there in place before to start the installations of the Oracle VM servers, okay? And then, of course, every Oracle VS server, the physical host, it has to have, let's say, a static IP address, okay? Not dynamic, because this is a static IP address. It will be used by the manager in order to, let's say, create several configurations. So if this IP address is changing, okay, then the manager will store this kind of IP address in embedded MySQL database. And if address is changed during any kind of operation, then the system, it will not work as expected. You have to reinforce discoveries, etc., etc. Okay. Now, network services. So another thing which is really important, it is, as these servers, they have to be to cooperate in a network, okay, then they have to be time synchronized. So it's very important that you have to provide a kind of synchronization by using, let's say, the NTP time, network time protocol, okay. So in most of the cases, it's the Oracle VM manager, which is, let's say, the source of this kind of configuration, okay. You have to provide DNS and DHCP services, okay. We need this kind of things for a lot of internal operations, okay. And sorry, I'm just going back. Why I have changed this, okay. You have to be sure that all kind of servers, they have been configured correctly to resolve their names, okay. The Oracle VM servers, they will have firewalls disabled at the installation time, okay. And then, of course, you can, let's say, activate the services after this kind of installation, okay, according to your network security requirements, okay. Now, if you need some other additional services, and one of these, it will be the DHCP for your virtual machines that they have to run on the top of this virtualization, then you have to create or to provide this kind of service outside of these installations, okay. So you should not install any other additional, let's say, services in the OVS servers, okay. So what about the storage? Okay, we have seen that whenever you are running this kind of configuration, okay, you have to store or save configurations in different kind of locations. So by such, you have to be able to provide, let's say, external storage that it has to be, let's say, discovered, okay, and manipulated from your Oracle VS servers. The Oracle VM Manager, it is not accessing directly the storage, but through a guided discovery, okay, this storage will be presented to several servers that they are part of your configuration. So we need actually storage for several, say, internal configuration. One of these, it is that whenever you are creating pool in the specific dedicated system to create your pool configuration, okay, then you need also storage for your repositories, because in the repositories you will store your servers, and then of course other kind of configurations that will be used, like creating virtual disk, or even map from the external storage physical LANs as part of your, let's say, IT infrastructure. So remember that Oracle is just giving you the concept of being able to connect to this storage by using the Storage Connect framework. So either generic or dedicated plugins that they will let you to see and manage the storage which is provided by a storage administrator. Okay. Now we will see on the next slides how you have to install the Oracle VM server for its x86, the manager as well, and some additional steps that they have to be performed whenever you're running this kind of software, just to check that the whole processes they have been installed in a correct way. So about the Oracle VM Server X86 installation steps. So we have to download the software from the edelivery.oracle.com. You have to be sure about the exact version that you have, because both Oracle VM Server and VS Manager, they have to match the exactly versions, okay? And from this place on, you have several installation paths. Either you will use a DVD, okay, that it will be mounted or will be seen from the network for every computer, okay? And if you reboot the server with a DVD, then you have just to follow an installation path that we will see on the labs. Either you can use, let's say, a Kickstart installation, which is also explained very well in several blogs or net support documents of Oracle. So both installations are valid. We will do in our labs installation through a normal CD-ROM, which is installed into the server. So for the Oracle VM server for X86, so it's let's say a normal or traditional Linux installation where you have to choose the keyboard, language, and user license agreement. You might reinstall or upgrade previous versions, okay? You have to choose only one hard drive where the installation will be done, and then of course you have to tell what will be the management interface or the VLAN segment that the product will configure for this kind of configuration, okay? You have to select the time zone, and you have to provide passwords for the Oracle VM agent and for the root user, okay? Then once that this installation is done, then you will see actually that one management interface is up and running as a bonded interface, only on a single port, okay? And then if you have chosen the VLAN, okay, so if you have already VLAN, a VLAN interface is already configured. Firewalls are not enabled so far, but you can enable them afterwards if you have any kind of security restrictions by taking care about additional ports. And then if you have some additional hard disks, these hard disks, whenever they're presented, they will be seen as additional local storage that it will be used to create local repositories. Now, another thing, but this is particular to your configuration, if you have fiber channel, let's say, installations, okay, configurations, then the LANs, they will be accessible immediately, but then we will see that there is a way to configure them in order to have a more, let's say, correct configuration. At the end of this part of installation, the Oracle VM agent anyway, it's up and running, and you will be able to get logged into your servers. Now, about the Oracle VM Manager, okay? Again, you have to download the correct version from the edelivery.com, okay? Remember that you have to prepare your, let's say, Linux server in order to have some users and some configurations. So in this case, you can download the ISO distribution, and you have to mount it as a loop device. Once that is mounted, then instead by doing manual configuration, you can run the create oracle.sh script, and then you have a system which is already well configured on some soft requirements, and then you launch the installer by executing the run installer.sh with or without additional, let's say, arguments. So whenever you're running the installer, you might find several options, okay? Either you can install everything, or you can upgrade from previous version, okay? Or you can try to remove the installation, the already installed software. So the installation requires only one password, okay, that it will be used by every user, that it will be created during the installation process, okay? And then during the installation phase, as we will see, you have, let's say, several possibilities, okay? either to use a configuration file just to give, let's say, whatever you need from one, let's say, pre-installation files that are configured, either to use a previous manager UUID. That means that in this case you are trying to retrieve configurations that they were existing from previous installations, or let's say if you want to skip some prerequisite checks, then in this case you use the additional let's say flag in order just to be sure that you will not stuck with some other configurations issues. So whenever the product will be installed, then it will create, as we have seen already, several files, okay, or directories. So you will have a layout under the U01, okay, where you will find a MySQL database installed, MySQL Enterprise Database backup as well, Java components, Oracle Web Logic Server installations, Oracle ADF installations, Oracle VM Manager applications, okay, one domain, because the whole manager it's based on an Oracle Web Logic, it's a web application plus some additional, let's say, libraries, the Oracle VM CLI, okay, and then also the installation logs of the product. Post-installation tasks, okay. As we have seen, we have been dealing that anytime that you're installing the Oracle VM servers, okay, you have to take care about how and how much memory you have and how many virtual machines you have to run. So you might need to, let's say, increase the DOM0 memory size just to have, let's say, more space, okay, more flexible kernels. And of course, you can try to change, but this is not always a good practice, the Oracle VM passwords on your servers, okay? Of course, if you have some additional issues, you can install some additional, let's say, diagnostic tools to gather any fact that it could be used in order to debug your servers, okay? And of course, you can change, let's say, several other settings into the Oracle VM servers in the limits of what is supported, okay? On the manager, the only thing that you can do it is just to change passwords, okay, that they have been created by default for the admin users. You can change the UI session timeout, and you might have to back up already the installation of the Oracle VM Manager. Part 2, Module 2. So, backing up the Oracle VM Manager, okay, then whenever you have finished your installation, you have to make, let's say, an additional backup just to be sure that everything will be saved in a correct way. So there's one file which is the .config, okay, which is having, let's say, information about the UID of the manager. So this kind of .config file, it is under U01 app Oracle VM Manager -3 directory, okay. Then remember that with the product you have a MySQL database which is already backed automatically once per day. So either you leave the system by doing this kind of backup, either you can trigger a manual backup of this, okay. And all these kind of backups, they will be stored in a dedicated, let's say, directory, which in turn you have to be sure that you will take regular, let's say, backups, okay, through any kind of procedure by using maybe NFS systems. So once that this installation is finished, then you have to get logged into your Oracle VM Manager user interface. Okay, so this is the first step. Remember that this is configured to run on the port 7002 with HTTPS. So the URL is https://localhost 7002/OVM console. We will run the labs and you will see how this thing is running. And you have to provide actually the admin user, okay, plus the password that it has been provided during the installation. Remember that all this kind of stuff are running as services, so there's you have to get logged into let's say Linux system and just test with sbin/service OVM status to see actually if the status of the OVM is up and running, And if the server is not running, then you might try the /sbin service OVMM restart, okay? That it will restart, let's say, an OVM manager UI, okay? Then, once that this interface is up and running, as you can see here, once that you have provided the right URL, okay, you have just to provide the user name, which is admin, and the password that you have provided during the installation, and then you are going into an additional, let's say, web page, which is giving you actually the outlook of your infrastructure. So this kind of page is divided into several parts, okay? A part on the left which is telling you what you have created with a navigation tool. So all these kind of, let's say, elements, they are created with ADF, so highly interactive. The middle management pane, which is giving you more detailed information about the elements that you have chosen on the left side, sorry, okay. On the bottom you have actually what we are calling the job summary. Every time that you are making kind of configuration, a dedicated job will appear in this line with the state of the job, and on the top of this kind of interfaces you have the global links where you can see actually who has logged into, okay, admin. And you can change some additional configurations about the usability of this kind of user interface. So whenever you have to use the graphical interface, you have to navigate between different tabs that are created. And as you can see here, if you click on the leftmost tab on the health, and you can have this kind of green color, that means simply that all of your VMs are in a healthy state, or there are not any kind of issues. And in some other times, the color will change just to tell you that something wrong is going on with your servers, and then in this case, the dedicated server, it will show you what you have to do. Otherwise, here we have the explanation of these tabs. Health, we have seen already what it is. Servers and VM, it is used to show you the state of your servers, okay? Discover servers, okay, create, let's say, and manage server pools, create and configure virtual machines. So you will find all these things. On the repositories, you will find actually the repositories that you have created on the top of the storage that you have already, let's say, discovered. The networking tab, it will be used to create and modify networks that they will be deployed into your infrastructure. Storage, it will give you a very precise idea about what you have discovered and what kind of storage is available for your configurations. And tool and resources is a very particular part where you can use it in order to update and create Yum repositories and put some additional parameters, okay, configuration parameters to your servers and jobs. It is the executions that you have to launch either by the user interface, the command line, or the web services to reconfigure your servers. One tool which is particularly useful if you want to perform, let's say, batch operations to your servers without using the interface is the Oracle VM CLI. So the Oracle VM CLI will be installed as a part of your normal Oracle VM Manager installation, okay? It is detailed on the documentation of the product, so you have all the steps that they are necessary to run configurations, and you can combine several, let's say, CLI commands, either by using an SSH connection or more interactively by using expect scripts, okay? So before to use this, you have to be sure that the port 10,000, it is opened already where on the OVM manager, okay? So this SSH action, as you can see here, it will be performed by a user, which is called admin. It's already created on the OVM manager, okay, on the port 10,000. And once that the provided password is correct, then you will see a prompt which is opening, and then in this prompt you can launch several commands, okay, in order maybe to list the different kind of servers, or to modify whatever it is created, or maybe to create new elements that they will be deployed immediately to your server if the parameters are okay. So whenever you have to upgrade the Oracle VM environment, okay, you are starting, let's say, from the manager. So before to upgrade the Oracle VM manager, you have to be sure that you have to take a backup in case that something is going wrong, okay? And then the next step it is just to download the latest version of the Oracle VM manager that it has to be used to update the previous one, okay? You have to read very carefully the support notes, because always there are some instructions that you have to perform in order to be sure that the operation it will be successful, and then the upgrade it can be run by just running the installer, okay, and choose the upgrade option. So whenever you want to upgrade the Oracle VM servers, again, there are several methods that they can be used. Just before to upgrade the servers, just read the associated documentation just to be sure about the installation steps. There are, let's say, a script which is a Python script, upgradeservers.py, which is doing all these kind of batch upgrades. You can use the Oracle VM Manager as well, okay? Through a UMI repository configuration can perform this kind of upgrades, or you can perform an upgrade directly by just launching a new installation with a CD-ROM or let's say something that you have been inserted to this obvious servers, and then you have just to perform let's say the executional steps associated with this kind of operation. So going to the last quiz, the question is which components are installed as part of the Oracle VM Server Manager installation? Okay, Oracle VM Manager applications, Oracle VM Agent, Oracle WebLogic Server, MySQL Enterprise Edition, including MySQL Enterprise Backup. Okay, so if you recall the Oracle VM installation, okay, it will install a series of applications, okay, that they will let the Oracle VM Manager to work. So the answer A is correct. Then the whole, let's say, user interface and some other applications, they need already to run on the top of one WebLogic server. So C also is correct. And then this installation, okay, it will install you the MySQL Enterprise Edition with the MySQL Enterprise Backup. Okay, so D is correct, and B is false, because the Oracle VM Agent, it will be installed, okay, on the OVS servers and not on the, let's say, manager, okay. Then we have another quiz just to quit this kind of session. Which two statements reflect the state of the Oracle VM server following the first reboot after installation? The firewall is enabled, the Oracle VM Agent is down, the management interface is up, the newly installed VM server is accessible by using SSH. So remember that whenever you are booting the server, so the management interface should be up, okay, and in this case you will be able, okay, to get connected by using SSH, okay, and of course the Oracle VM agent is up, okay, and the firewall is disabled. We have seen actually in this course how you have to plan your installations, how you have to prepare the host servers to run this kind of configurations, options that you might need in order to install this kind of software, okay, post-installation tasks, how you have to navigate into the interfaces, and maybe the slight introduction to the upgrade process. All the practicalities, how you have to manage actually the software, okay, we will see it in a more interactive way by just running the labs, okay. We will see that there is one dedicated server, which is the OVS VR02, which will be used to install the software. Then we have to install the manager to the server, which is called OVM MGR01, and then we perform all these tasks, and we will use the CLI, okay, and we will perform also an enhancement. Instead of performing or delivering all the time passwords, we will set up a key-based authentication, okay, between hosts in order just to be able to run this command. So this is the end of the chapter 2, part 2. Practices for lesson 2. So this practice is concerning the installation of the OVS server and the OVS manager. We will use the server, the virtual host OVS VR02, okay, in order to install the OVS server. So we have to verify that the server is up and running. So for the practice 2-1, verify that the virtual host OVS VR02.example.com is running. So again, we are logged as root to the machine. The command xmlist, it will tell us actually that we have several virtual machines that they are running, so you can see clearly that the OVS VR02, okay, it's an empty cell which is up and running, and it will be used then to install the server. So this is the end of the practice 2-1. Practice 2-2, install the Oracle VM server on the second server, okay, OVS VR02. Okay, so in this practice we have to install the Oracle VM server for X86 on the second server. So the tasks, task 1, we have to access the console, okay, for the OVS VR02, okay, so you have to execute the command xmvnc viewer OVS VR02, okay, enter the string, enter, okay, and then you have actually the console, and we have to start the installation, okay. So on the CD screen here, okay, you have just to press the tab key. Please click inside very carefully, tab key, just to skip this media test. And just wait that the screen will give you another welcome screen, okay. Welcome to the Oracle VM server, okay. Click OK. On the language, just leave the options as they are already chosen, English. Okay. Keyboard selection. Again, if it's not chosen the OK, you have to press the tab, OK. You have to accept the end user license agreement, okay. So in this screen, okay, you have to select reinitialize, okay. So click again into your screen, reinitialize, press enter. Okay. On the second screen, you have again to use the reinitialize for the second disk. So as you can see here, we have two disks, reinitialize. And then on this screen, it's how we have to install actually the OVS server, what kind of layouts we will use, okay? So you use the entire drive, okay, so this choice, okay, then you enter the tab to go down, okay, scroll with a button to choose the SDB, press the space button, okay, and as you can see here, we will use only the SDA to install the server to the system, okay, so these choices should be like that, okay, in my screen. And then you have to press OK. So review and modify partition layout, choose yes. So you can see actually the default partitioning as it is created, okay? And you have simply to accept this kind of partitioning, okay? There is nothing else to change here. It was just an inspection, okay? So you place again your cursor inside, okay? Till the OK. So you accept the choice, yes. And now you are having, let's say that these options, they will be written to the disk. Sorry. So you have just to click inside and enter, write changes to the disks. So we are creating the partitions. And now on the bootloader configuration, okay, here, okay, you have simply to accept actually the changes, okay, or choose OK. We will not use kdump, okay, no kdump, enter. And then on the next screen, we have actually 4 network interfaces that they have been created for this server. We have to accept the first one, the ETH0, okay? So it will be used as the network interface to use it for the Oracle VM Management Network, okay? So you have to accept the first choice. Again, click here inside and then OK. Now, we have to perform the IP configuration for the ETS0, okay? So by default it's dynamic. We don't need dynamic, okay? So once more you click inside. We have to go for the manual, okay? So as you see here, you scroll down, you press the space button, okay? And then you have to provide the IP address that this server has to have, okay, for the ETS0. So one more, you press the tab button, and then you have to enter the address 192.0.2.120, okay, prefix tab 24, okay. Then you have to press again the tab button, the OK, it is selected, okay. And then you have actually the gateway and the primary DNS that you have to provide. So in this case, the gateway, it will be 192.0.2.1. You press the tab to go to the next 192.0.2.1. The tab one more time, so you have the OK. You don't need to enter anything to the secondary DNS. Okay, and now about the hostname configuration. So again, the hostname, it will be done in a manual way. And then tab OVS VR02.example.com. Okay, OVS VR02. So you have to be very careful about the addresses, okay? Then, if everything's okay, you press again the tab OK button, okay? And then you have to select your key zone. So the key zone has to be etc/GMT. So in order to go very fast, you click inside, you put your cursor inside here, and then on the keyboard you press the letter E. Okay, and then once more the tab button to go to OK. So we have set up the correct time zone, okay, and then we have to create a password for the agent, Oracle VM agent, okay. So the password should be always the same for every server that we will use in this course, and it is OVS agent. So again, you have to click inside and you enter OVS agent twice. One more time the tab, okay. You have to create now a password for the root, okay. So the password for the root should be Oracle. So once more, you have to be always careful, click here inside and then you write Oracle twice. Then okay. It's a weak password, we don't care, use anyway, so the tab, okay. So at this point you will see that the installation is starting, okay. There are packages that they will be installed. This installation takes a lot of time, okay. So in this case, you leave this window open, okay. You don't have to interact, okay, and you have to wait until you will find a prompt for rebooting the server. So do not touch this anymore, okay. So this is the last part of the 2-2, the final steps for the installation of the OVS VR2 server, okay. So after a very lengthy installation, you're arriving to the final screenshot, okay, which is just asking you to reboot the server, okay. You just have to press the key reboot. Here you are, okay. So during this reboot phase, you will see that the console will disappear, okay. Let's follow the system XM list. So we can see still that the OVS VR02 is up and running, and we can go again with the domain for OVS VR2, okay. So in this case, what we see here is that our OVS server is starting to boot. If you push the F2 button inside of this VNC viewer, you will see actually how the OVS VR02 is booting, okay. We have the correct IP addresses, etc., etc. The OVS agent is starting. You don't need any more this window. Close it. And we will try to make an SSH. Yes. Oracle. Okay. So we are just been logged into this OVS VR server that we have been installed, okay, so everything is okay. So this is the end of the practice 2-2, where we have a successful installation of the OVS server. Now we are going to install, okay, the OVM manager, okay, we will perform this installation by using PuTTY because there is no need to have a graphical interface. So in this case, I'm making an SSH connection, okay, to the remote server. User root with his own password. Okay, XM list. So we have to start the practice 3.3, examining the host where the Oracle VM Manager is installed. Okay, so in order to make this kind of lab, okay, we have to get logged, okay, to the OVM MGR01. Okay, so from here, an SSH to the OVM MGR01. Okay, so actually we are logged into this system. Okay, then we have to display the memory by issuing the command more proc mem info. Okay, so as you can see here, the memory total, it is really what it is needed to work, 8 gigabytes. Okay, so in our case we have 7 gigabytes, but it's a testing environment, so we can afford this deviation. Another requirement is to be sure that we have the Oracle user. Okay, so we see that actually there is an Oracle user. Okay. We have the DBA group. Okay. Let's see how much space and we have, and if the directory U01 is there. Okay, so we see the directory. Okay, correct sizes. And then there are some additional packages that they have to exist, like the unzip package. So RPM QA grep unzip. Sorry, again, I mistyped it. Okay, so we have actually the correct packages. So this is the end of the practice 2-3. Practice 2-4, install the Oracle VM Manager on the OVM MGR01. In the previous practice, we have done some preliminary tests. You should still stay connected, okay? On the same time, you can follow the progression of the OVS server, okay? So it takes time, do not interrupt this. So let's get focused on the installation, okay? So in this case, there is one directory which is created, states, to this server, okay? So whenever you are switching to the stage, okay, there are several files that they have already been created, okay, for you, and we will use these files in order to make this kind of installation. So there is one file which is called Oracle VMM-3.4.1-installer Oracle Linux.iso, okay, and this is the file that we need to mount, okay, in order to perform this installation, okay. So you have to mount it in this way. Okay. So let's see now if it is mounted. Okay. Okay. So we see actually the content of this installer. Okay. With the create oracle.sh, that it will create the Oracle user if your Linux server is missing this kind of configuration, and even it will retune the server. Okay. Then before to launch this kind of installation, because our developer is using, let's say, a repository that it has been created from a previous installation, okay, you have to provide to the installer a UUID from the previous manager, okay? So let's make here, okay, so normally, whenever you have to provide this kind of information, okay, because there is a specific repository which is exported, okay, you have to go, first of all, to the place where this information is exported. So on the base station, okay, there is one specific mounted share, NFS share, NFS repos. Okay. So this is a repository that it has been created from a previous, let's say, environment, and you need for our installer to give the identity of this previous manager in order to be able to own it. So in this case, you have to make cat.ovs repo, okay, and you will get actually the repo manager here. So you have to be very careful to copy only this part as an additional argument for your, let's say, installer, okay? So you might have to click here like that. And then you have to get logged back to your OVMMGR01, okay? CD to the /MNT, okay? It's where you have mounted the installation media. And then you have to execute the following command. Okay? So please do not go very fast in this moment, because if you enter here a wrong string, then you will not be able to see your repository. Okay? So as you can see here, I will enter the installer to run with --user ID equal, okay, the ID that I have already been copying before, okay, from the previous repository. If you are not sure about the chains, the numbers or the letters, do not proceed further, because then you will create some issues, okay? So as you can see here, everything should be on the same line. Okay, and then you press the button to start the installation. So you have actually several options. Our goal is to install the OVM manager, so the installation option is 1. you have to provide one password, which is given in the activity guide. The password should be my Oracle 1. My Oracle 1. My Oracle 1. So this is on the page 26, chapter 2. So as you can see here, the password's okay. So you have to then accept the full qualified domain, which is proposed already. It is ovmmgr.exam01example.com. Okay, place the cursor inside, enter. Then you have to continue, okay, unless if you have a reason to stop the installation. Number 1. And then you have to wait for some time. So now the system, it will start to set up all kind of related software, installing the MySQL, installing the WebLogic with ADF, okay, configuring and installing the CLI, creating a WebLogic domain, create VM tools, okay. So this kind of installation might take, let's say, half an hour. So maybe it's a good time to take a break. You should not interrupt this kind of installation. On the same time, as you can see here, the OVS server is in the installation phase. Do not touch anything, do not interrupt anything, okay? It is a very lengthy process, so you have to wait that both parts, they will be stopped, okay? So as you can see here, there are several steps that they have been executed, okay? And in this case, you let the systems to perform their work. Do not make any other, let's say, modification. Just let the systems work. So this is the end of the the step 3, and we will come at the step 4 to follow up the installation of the OVM manager. So we are coming back on the installation of the Oracle VM Manager to the server ovmmgr01, okay, after the successful completion of this installation, okay. You can see that one manager has been installed with this user ID, one user has been created. You might need sometimes to inspect the installation files, so cat tmp/ovm_config, okay, where you will see actually configuration details, okay. And at this point, we consider that you have finished successfully the practice 2-4, which is the installation of the Oracle VM Manager on the server ovmmgr01. Practice 2-5, perform post-installation verifications. So there are just some accessory actions that you can launch into your manager, okay, which is already installed. Okay, we have just to get connected as the OVMMGR, or let's say root. Okay, so cd to the lab, to the var log/ovm. So actually we have here the installation log, okay. Well, you can view this kind of installation by just entering the cat OVM. okay, which is giving you the information about the installation, or you can even edit it. Another thing is that you can make a grep. Okay, so you can find the manager's UUID. It's exactly the information that you have already entered on the installer. And then one additional command, service OVMM status. Service OVMM status. Okay, the manager is running. Another verification. So on the same time, you can see also that there is a WebLogic server which is up and running, and of course you can test that the OVM CLI is up and running. Okay, so the CLI is working. Okay, it's up and running. Then it is the end of our 2-5 perform of post-installation verification. Practice 2-6. Verify access to the Oracle VM CLI and set up public key-based SSH authentication to connect to the CLI. So in these tasks, for these tasks, I will use again my PuTTY session. Okay. The only thing that I need to do it is just to make an SSH to the OVMMGR01. Okay. Then grep 10,000 to the /etc/sysconfig IP tables. Okay. Okay, so the port 10,000 is open on the firewall because we need this port to communicate with the CLI. So at this stage we are okay. Exit. Okay, and then I have to go back to my base station. Okay, as you can see here, hostname. Then from here on, I can make an SSH -L by the user admin, which is installed by default for the OVM manager. Okay, to the OVMMGR01 -P port 10,000. Okay, the user should be admin. Okay. Yes. So the admin password was the password that I have used to create the installation. It should be my Oracle 1. Okay. So if the authentication is successful, as you can see here, a prompt will open. Okay. So this is the prompt of the OVM CLI. Okay. So now you can start to play with different options. So I have just sent it through the SSH this command, which is telling me different options that they can be used. Okay. We have not created any object so far. Okay. Let's see the version that we have of the server. So version. .4.1, okay. Okay, the list command is very useful. It can show you different objects that they can be used. By the way, you have to download actually the documentation from the Oracle side, this command. And at this stage, we have just verified that the CLI is operational. So in order not to give any kind of, let's say, passwords, we have to establish a key authentication. So for this reason, I have already created my RSA keys here, okay? So if you don't have these keys, then you have to create them with the SSH -kgen T minus TRSA, but in my case I have already these keys here, okay? So the only thing that I need to do in this case, it is to copy. I have to copy these keys to the Oracle home. Password is Oracle, okay? So this copy is done. Then you have to connect to the OVM MGR 01. Okay, here you are. So you have to change to the home Oracle SSH. That's where I have copied these keys. Okay, so ID underscore RSA pub, it is the key that I have been copying, okay, copied from my workstation, and then you have to move this key to the OVM CLI authorized keys. Okay, here you are. Yes, simple as that. Okay, so the thing is done. Okay, one more step, it is just to change the ownership. Okay, here you are, and then you quit actually the session from to the OVM MGR, and then we will try to test again that the keys now are working without providing any password. We should be able to launch the OVM shell. So as you can see here, the OVM is up and running, so the keys are working perfectly, so we can launch the commands without providing any other passwords. So this is the end of the practice 2-6.